Hello, everyone. I think we can start with the session if Mr. Ayush permits.
Yeah, sure. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. So let me start first, then you can go ahead.
Yeah, sure.
The worst speech you will give will be far better than the one you never give. Good evening to one and all present here. I'm Krishna Jyoti Devi, and on behalf of Adore, I welcome you all. Adore, an NGO dedicated to motivating youth for positive change. Adore provides teaching volunteers to various NGOs offering educational support to children in need. Adore also conducts webinars and workshops for school and college going students. Today, we have Mr. Ayush Nadiminti with us from Hyderabad, Telangana, who is the president at Heck Club, social entrepreneur, public speaker, intern at IIT Delhi, host at Explorer 2023, who will be sharing his knowledge and experiences regarding public speaking. So, before starting, I request everyone please turn on your cameras. It is really important to be interactive in the session. And without any further delay, we can start the session. Over to you, Mr. Ayush.
Yeah. So I'll keep my video off for just 2 minutes because I'll be screen sharing and then I'll keep it on again.
Sure.
Okay, so let's start with the webinar then. Okay, I want everyone to picture this. Imagine you are in front of 100 people and you're suddenly asked to give a speech. It may be a small speech or it may be a presentation you're giving to your colleagues or might be as small as introduction in your classroom. Now the spotlights is all on you. Your heart slowly beating and your palms all sweaty. Your tongue starts to dry out and slowly everything goes blank. Audience, what you experienced is called claustrophobia. Claustrophobia is a fear of public speaking. A very good evening to all the participants present here. Did you know that claustrophobia, the fear of public speaking, is the most haunted thing among most of the public speakers? In a survey conducted by the US government, they have noticed the second most feared thing is death, and the first is public speaking itself. So, speaking in front of a couple of people is more daunting than death itself. A very good evening to all the participants present here. Let me take you back to when I was in 10th grade. I was an ambivert who leaned more towards shyness, especially when it came to speaking. The thought of speaking in front of a crowd would make me nervous, and I often found myself avoiding such situations altogether. But things started to change when I entered 11th grade. I decided it was time to step out of my comfort zone and embrace public speaking. The first major step I took was to start taking on new roles that required me to speak and lead. So here is my tip number one. Before I get into tips, I want you all to comment down from rating from 1 to 5 your fear of public speaking. 1 being very scared and 5 being very confident. Okay, I see a lot of confident speakers or someone with the 5. Okay, great, great. I see a lot of confident speakers in this meeting. Okay, now for those people who are in the between 2 and 3, about 90 to 80% of the speakers are between this range. And for those people who think they're very confident enough and between 4 and 5, congrats on reaching the top 10%. Now, through this webinar, my main goal will be to either get you to the 4 to 5% range or to at least give you insights on what helped me and what could help you as well. So, tip number 1. This is what I like to call the season of yes. One of the most effective ways to overcome the fear of public speaking is to adopt a season of yes mentality. This means accepting every opportunity to speak or present, regardless of how daunting it may seem initially. Each experience, whether it's speaking in a meeting, presenting to a small group, or participating in a public event, provides valuable learning and growth opportunities. Key tips here: challenge comfort zones. Traditionally, people will ask you to step out of your comfort zone. I believe that making public speaking a part of your comfort zone is way more efficient. So, how does that happen? How do you make public speaking comfortable task? First, learn through experiences. A quote goes, "It's better learned when done." Each speaking opportunity offers hands-on learning, helping you sharpen your communication skills and cultivate with ease. For example, the first time I ever discovered that speaking helps is when I won an ideathon. Trust me, our idea was very basic. But something that we had, the other teams lacked, is the way we put it forward. Here's exactly what we did. First, the 1/4 rule: prepare with purpose. So, what is this 1/4 rule? Before stepping onto the stage for your 30-minute talk, let's say you're doing a talk for a period of 30 minutes, adopting the 1/4 rule strategy can significantly enhance your performance. This strategy ensures you start strong, maintain focus, and deliver effectively throughout your presentation. Okay, so let's do the math. A 30 minutes presentation, 1/4 of 30 minutes is 8 minutes. What if I told you that by the end of this 8 minutes, you would have completed your intro, figured out your goal, revised the key points effectively in just 8 minutes? Here's how I would divide those 8 precious minutes. The first 20 seconds, breathe and center yourself. Begin by taking 20 seconds to breathe deeply and calm your nerves. Your heart and your nervous system gets cooled down. Do this for 20 minutes straight. This brief movement of mindfulness helps regulate your heartbeat and clears your mind, setting a composed tune for your speech. The next 4 minutes, define your intro and opening. I can't stress this enough. Your intro is the make or break of your speech. Keep your starting visual or engaging. For example, the way I asked you all to imagine that you are giving a speech in front of a huge crowd. Second, I interact with your audience. In the beginning of the meet, I asked you all to give your scores or ratings on how you would rate yourself as a public speaker. And that really helped me understand the level where my audience is at. Dedicate approximately 4 minutes to crystallizing your main goal and crafting a compelling opening. Your goal should guide the entire presentation, outlining what you aim to achieve or convey to your audience. The opening sets the stage, capturing attention, establishing rapport right from the start. Next, the last 4 minutes. Outline key points. Allocate another 4 minutes to outline the key points that support your goal. These points form the backbone of your speech, providing structure and coherence to your ideas. They ensure you stay on track while allowing flexibility to adapt based on audience engagement and interaction. So, just from this one-fourth rule, you have crafted the outline of a good speech. Okay, so we got the main stuff cleared. Now, so you took the tip that and started your speech strong. Let's say everything went good, your introduction was perfect, your interaction was perfect, and you got your audience to think. Everything is flowing smoothly. And then it happens. You began to forget your points. This exact scenario happened to me, and here's what I did to handle it effectively. Stay confident. The most crucial aspect when you start forgetting your points is to maintain your confidence. Remember, confidence often matters more than the precise content of your speech. Keep calm, take a breath, and continue speaking as if nothing went wrong. Remember, your audience will likely not notice minor lapses if you remain composed and self assured. The second I forget any speech, this is what I always remember. My audience does not know the exact points I prepared. So if I mess up my points here and there a bit, my continuity would ensure that I am not forgetting all my points and continuing in a smooth and composed way. So the audience does not know. One fundamental truth in public speaking is that your audience doesn't know your script. They aren't aware of the specific points you intend to cover. As long as you continue speaking confidently, they will assume everything is going according to plan. This realization can be incredibly liberating and reduce the pressure you feel when things don't go perfectly. Now, one more tip I would give here is ad lib and improvise. Improvising is one of the best things. In my experience, when I began forgetting my points during a speech, I quickly shifted and talked about related topics, shared personal anecdotes, and reiterated key messages. This kept my audience engaged and gave me time to recollect my thoughts. Treat your speech like a conversation, not a rigid lecture, allowing for flexibility and natural flow. Okay, I just forgot the point. Now, here's what I would do. I wouldn't think of what I would say next, but I would continue with the points I said before. Speak confidently, ad lib, and improvise. This is exactly what you should be doing so that your audience doesn't know that you have missed a certain point. Don't slutter, don't look above, don't look side here and there, and just continue with your speech. Focus on main points. If you get lost, return to your main points. Your core message and primary objectives are your anchors. Reiterate these points or expand them further. This not only helps you regain your footing, but also reinforces the main takeaways for your audience. Now, use visual cues and notes. Having visual aids or brief notes can serve as an excellent cues if you find yourself stuck. Glance at your side or a keyword note to jog your memory. These tools are there to support you, to use them discreetly to stay on track. Next, engage with audience. Engaging with audience can buy you time to think and refocus. So let's say I forgot a point here and there. I would ask my audience some questions and try, and meanwhile, while they're answering the questions, I would try to reinforce my points more strongly and clearly. Engaging with audience can buy you time to think and refocus. So, in summary, forgetting points during a speech is not the end of the world. By staying confident, remembering that the audience is unaware of your exact script, and using strategies like ad-libbing, that is improvising, focusing on the main points, using visual cues, and engaging with your audience, you can navigate through your hiccups smoothly. This approach not only maintains the flow of your presentation, but also reinforces your image as a composed and adaptable speaker. Okay, we have already become a way better speaker than where we started. So now I would like to know your points from 1 to 5 again. And I hope this time it might increase a bit here and there from the points such as confident speaking, the 1/4 rule, and your audience doesn't know everything. Okay, let's continue again. Now, here are some last moment tips before we get into the questions. Firstly, don't memorize. Memorizing your speech is probably one of the worst things you can do. Treat your speech as a conversation. People love engaging talks. Keep your goals and key points in mind and go with the flow. If you break here and there, take a moment, take a breath, take a pause. But remember that your speech is not a 20 lines essay, or it's not a fixed number of points, and you can go way above and beyond. Secondly, know your audience. Tailor your speech. For example, professionals, they want data, they want facts, they want visuals. Teens and families like us prefer engaging stories. Share them your experiences, share them what you went through and how you overcame those struggles. Share them your experiences in such a way that they can visualize and put themselves in your shoes. Speak loud and slow. I can't stress this point enough. I've heard a lot of people who keep their mic 10 inches away from their mouth and they start speaking very slow. That is the biggest mistake any public speaker can make. Go slow and speak loud. Speaking loud not only ensures that your audience hears all the points properly, but also when you speak loud, you feel a bit more confident. And if you're confident enough, your audience will start seeing you as a figure of inspiration and they'll continue to listen from you. So speak loud and slow. One more advantage of speaking slow is that if you forget any points here and there as well, speaking slow would give you and buy you time to rethink those points. At the same time, giving a pause and speaking slow would ensure your audience to process the information that has just been told to them. Remember, when it comes to public speaking, confidence is the cornerstone of an impactful and memorable presentation. When a speech is delivered without confidence, even the most perfect speech sounds weak and undesirable. Whereas even the most average speech, like this one, could sound the best with a bit of confidence. Let's end it with a quote. Public speaking isn't reserved for the naturally gifted. It's a craft shaped by those willing to step forward and learn. Best of luck. I'm sure you'll get better with time. Thank you all.
Thank you so
Hello, sir.
much.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
hello.
So, sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Uh, what role does your humor play in your public speakings?
Could you repeat?
What role does your humor play in your public speakings?
Could you type your message or question in the chat if you don't mind?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I've seen one question in the chat asking, can you touch base on how to handle unprepared questions? Okay, so I think here are some unprepared questions from me, and let's see how I can handle those. In the meanwhile, I'll be giving you more tips on those as well. So I think that question will be answered. Okay, what role does humor play in your public speaking? Okay, of course, humor is again, it's a very important yet a very hard thing to master. I would suggest if you're starting off, don't make your speech or tailor your speech very humorous because it's very hard to engage with your audience when it's and it's very hard to deliver your jokes perfectly. So if you're just starting off, I would say try to maintain the key points and try to go with the flow. Once you're comfortable with your speech, then slowly you can add humor to it. And that will make a way lot big difference in your entire speech as a whole. Okay, is his humor an advantage in public speaking or disadvantage? Okay, now I would personally say it's an advantage in public speaking because who would like those hours of boring sessions with no jokes? A bit of giggle, a bit of laughter could spice things up and make it more interesting. But if you are not very well experienced and you don't have complete control over your jokes, I would suggest not to use it in your beginning stages. But slowly and steadily, try to master that. I hope I answered that question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you can call me Ayush. Anything else? Okay. Okay, Akish,
You
sure.
all can ask your questions.
Okay, I see a question from Trishanu. Uh, what to do when we are asked to speak suddenly? Just like the scenario. One second. Yeah, just like the scenario you mentioned in the start. How can we start off and speak suddenly without a script? Okay, that's a great question. As I mentioned in the beginning, public speaking does not require a script. You need few key points in your mind that are very important and that you want to deliver and go with the flow. For example, I'll take the example of the ideathon I had. So in this ideathon, we had to present a business project in front of some judges. And we were very scared. I was informed about this in the last moment, and I joined the team of 4 to 5 members. What I did was I firstly asked them, what is our idea about? I broke it down. And then I analyzed some of the plus points, that is the pros that we can and the impact that we can create in the community, and some of the drawbacks that we had. After I completely analyzed that idea, what I did next was to think about the questions that the judges might ask. This really helped me because when I already predicted the questions, I could have already come up with an answer 5 to 10 minutes ago, way before the speech. And when you're speaking at the spot, the biggest advice would be go with what you know. If I'm very good at, let's say, if I'm very good at talking about financial part or investment part and not so good with the facts, I wouldn't dive right into the facts. I will focus on my strength. So I will talk a bit about the finances of that business. I would talk a bit about our revenue model and as a whole what I would do there. And then slowly I will come down to the facts. But I wouldn't directly jump off to the facts and get nervous and then mess up my speech. Okay. What are the next plans for educating people like this? Okay, so not really, but I would love to continue giving more webinars. And I believe I'm also a learner. This is just the start of my journey. As I mentioned, in 10th grade, I was this very shy kid closed in a room, and all I would do is bus 10th ki padhai, board ki padhai, and if I had a time and board off of that, I would get into basketball. That was my go-to. I explored public speaking in 11th, and I would really love to partner up with more groups and NGOs, and I would really thank Adore for giving me this opportunity here. So I think this is a great platform for all of you guys to step in and express your views and opinions, and through that create a wider impact in the society. Okay, I got a question. At what age can kids pick up this? What would be the opportunities they should look for? As parents, how can we inspire them? Okay, that's a great question. I think first I'll answer the first part of it. At what age can kids pick up this? I think as a kid, the first thing we learn and the first thing the parents are most excited is when we speak. The first word that comes out from your child's mouth is the most happiest word that you have ever heard. That's the one word that gives you the happiness of the entire world. So I think from a very young age, as soon as a child starts speaking a bit, I would encourage you to put him into groups or communities, or keep put him into, or tell him to connect with like-minded individuals who are also interested in getting into public speaking. There is no age as such, but it would be great if you start at the earliest. What would be the opportunities they should look for? Okay, yeah, the opportunities. Okay, as I said, the season of yes. So after 10th, the biggest transaction I did was say yes to everything. Anything that hit up on my LinkedIn message, I was like, yes, let's do it. Anything, like literally anything. You say me there is an event going on there, I'd be like, yes. You say me there's an internship going on there, I'd be like, yes, let's do it. Let's do it now. Let's do it ASAP. And then I used to get on it. Of course, it takes time to manage all of those with time. But once you start getting comfortable with it, that's how it's challenging yet a learning experience. And as a parent, how we can inspire them. I don't think I'm the right person to answer this question, but with all humility, I would say that as a parent, the best, I think for me, my parents, they are my role models. And I think a lot of kids also look up to their parents. So as a parent, if you show confidence, for example, let's say you're teaching your child a particular lesson, but if you're confidently able to teach him, that in and itself is a learning and inspiration for your child. For example, every time Hindi was my weak subject in beginning of, I think, the start of like sixth and seventh grade. So what my dad used to do is he used to have like hours of sessions wherein he used to sit down with me and teach me Hindi. And really just spending time with me and teaching me as in and itself helped me to understand concepts better. And furthermore, the teaching style. So in that way, whenever I do public speaking, I always remember that and try to do the same. Okay, can only extroverts be a good public speakers? Okay, as I mentioned in the beginning, I was an ambivert, neither an extrovert nor an introvert. I was in the beach ka part, not there, not here. So, as an extrovert, it's always a plus if you're an extrovert because you're already comfortable with talking to multiple people. But I believe there is nothing known as a complete introvert, because even as an introvert, you have someone to talk to. At least that one person, might be a parent, might be a very very close friend. You just don't like mingling with everyone, but that one person that you talk to is enough. So that means you're already experienced in speaking. So what I would suggest is that if you are an introvert, try opening up. It's not necessary that you have to talk to a bunch of people on day one, but at least try opening up to your one friend, one parent. It could be as small as start journaling. If you start journaling, you write down your thoughts, and that could further help you. And anyone can be a great public speaker. As I mentioned, public speaking is an art that is cultivated with time. Just practice more and you'll get there. Okay. What is more important, content or delivery? I personally feel content is important, but delivery is way more important. I would prioritize delivery the most. Reason being, as I mentioned, during the ideathon, a lot of groups, I think there were like over 15 to 20 groups. All of them had really good content, a really solid business plan, a really solid revenue model. Only thing that they lacked, that I think, luckily we could understand that. And the thing that plus us is that delivery. Wherever the judges asked us any question, we answered it with utmost confidence. And I must confess that some of the points that I said might have gone wrong during that delivery. But yet, because of my confidence, I made sure that they seem right. And that is what led us to the victory. So I think delivery is very important, but don't compromise on your content. Okay, if someone cannot understand the speech after repeating, what would be the next step? Okay, that's a good question again. Someone cannot understand the speech after repeating, what would be the next step? Okay, so let's say I didn't understand the speech way after many times you repeated. So I would suggest you to take up on the basics of basics. For example, when I was explaining one of my friends a mathematical concept, it was about integration, one of the most daunting topic. So what I did was I went down to the basics. I was like, exponents, addition, multiplication, division. So iska, let's say this, if integration is the opposite of differentiation. So what I told him was, if you're multiplying this two, what will be the opposite of it? He said division. So that's what we did. And next problem had an addition in it. And I asked him, if you're adding these two, what would be the opposite of it? He said subtraction. And that's what we did, and we got the answer. So I believe that whenever someone is struggling, even after you have repeated the points a lot of times, go to the depth, go to the very basics. If anyone, even let's say he's not at the best stage to understand it, or let's say he's not able to understand the concept, if you go complete basics from the basics to the start, I think he would really understand it. And I would prioritize quality over quantity here. So focus on delivering those basics perfectly and not to cover the entire topic or cover the entire speech. Okay, any more questions? Okay, what is my next agenda? Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like a big speaker all of a sudden, but nothing planned. I think I want to complete my 12th grade and very basic plans that I think a lot of us would have. My next goal, actually, to be honest, I always wanted to deliver speeches and also always wanted to create an impact. So I think my next agenda or goal, I would say, would be to create a wide impact in the society, either through my speeches, either through what I've learned, or either through the experience that I've gained this 1 year. Any other questions?
So,
Thank you
is it
all.
necessary that only extrovert can be good at public speaking?
No, as I mentioned, I don't believe that only extroverts can be good at public speaking. Obviously, as I said, extroverts do have that plus or a slight edge when it comes to public speaking. But as I mentioned, even introverts, they have someone to go to. And I definitely believe that introverts are the most knowledgeable people as compared to extroverts because they have all the knowledge stored inside their brain and just thinking to themselves all day long. I think that's a great experience in itself. So all you have to do is learn to put it out. And once you get to that stage where you can learn to channelize your thoughts and put it out, that is when you'll become a great public speaker. And I think it takes time. It definitely does. It took me 1 year, 1 whole year, 12 months to get open up and speak in front of large audience. Started with 10, 5. To be honest, I started with my family, my younger brother, and then slowly I went to 5, 15 people, 80 people, 100 people, and yeah, and giving webinars now. So it's a great experience, and I think anyone can do that. If I can do it, I think anyone can do it.
Thank you,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, you can call me Ayush. Yeah, you're welcome. How do I overcome a tendency to say and okay, the sluttering. Yeah. Okay. To be honest, here and there, I might have sluttered, but not as often. The key thing to that is be confident. As I said, just take a moment. Now, whenever I'm speaking, I'm trying to be slow and giving gaps. The reason I'm doing is just because I get time to think. Now, also, when I'm trying to say the next sentence, I'm thinking what to say next. So that's basically giving me time to think and repeat my sentences and tell you the points that I want to deliver. Now, that could enhance and that could, potentially stop from sluttering. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, any other questions?
Yes. Uh, like
Mhm.
क्या कॉन्फिडेंट होना जरूरी है पब्लिक स्पीकिंग के लिए या पब्लिक स्पीकिंग से कॉन्फिडेंस आता है?
Okay, that's a great question. It's a really good question. So, yeah, that is very well said that public speaking से confidence आता है. But I would think of it in this way. Confidence is built through experience. That I think all of us will agree, right? When you repeat something over and over again through a bunch of people, you gain confidence. And in the initial stages, when you're starting and when you think you're not confident enough, trust me, everybody has confidence instilled in them. Everybody. We all have this bit of hope, bit of confidence. That's the reason we're even able to come up and speak. Like, for example, when all of the people were comfortable in giving their answers in the chat, you came up and spoke and asked a question. So that shows that you have a lot of confidence in yourself, right? So now the only thing that you can do, and the biggest advice that I would give you, is that take all the confidence that you have in yourself, take the courage and speak. Any opportunity you get. Let's say kal school mein assembly chal raha hai. So what I would do is I would go into the assembly. I'll ask my teacher, "Hey, can I be a speaker here? Can I have this one, two lines? That's it. Nothing more. One, two lines." Even those one, two lines, speaking those one, two lines in front of the entire school would give you immense confidence. And as soon as you deliver those speeches, maybe one or two lines, slowly you'll start seeing the success that, okay, I delivered these two lines perfectly. So I can deliver a lot more lines. And slowly that's how you stack up, stack up, stack up, and that's how you level up. And that's how you become a really good public speaker. So I would say public speaking से confidence बनता है, but all of us have confidence instilled in us. All we have to do is start speaking, and slowly we'll develop it. Okay, another question. How do you react? How to react if you become dumbstruck during the speech? Okay, yeah, that is a good question again. So, okay, let's say even when I'm answering this question, I forgot all the points. I really don't know how to answer this question. Let's take the example like that. And now let's say I'm thinking, now if I do this, and if I do, so to answer your question, it sounds really bad. And obviously the audience will lose faith in me. Now all the points are said. I'm not showing it out in the first, I'm not showing all the points out, right? I'm not displaying you guys the points. So you'll quickly lose trust in me. So the first thing you should say when you're dumbstruck, I think your thoughts are dumbstruck because you have, let's say, because the main reason why you're dumbstruck is because you have not remembered all your points. Or let's say because you was really scared and that's why you forgot all your points. So the best thing you can do is go with the flow. I forgot all my points and now, but I know the topic, right? So let's say again, business wale pe aate hain, ideas on pe. I forgot all my points, but I remember what my topic was. I would say anything on my topic. Like, even if I think that, okay, ये business अच्छा है. So I would just say the judge that this is a great business and you must invest in this or be a part of it because I really feel that this business could create a great impact. And I really feel that this business could enhance our society as a whole. Our product is really good. This is good. Our customer service is really good. And this is how we are trying to create engagement. I haven't said any clarity points. I just repeated the words that I've said, and I haven't actually gone in depth. So this is something that could really help. If you're dumbstruck, you know the topic, just go with the flow. Say whatever you know. And with time, after like a couple of sentences, you'll eventually get it. And then you can again continue your speech, and I'm pretty sure it'll be great. Thank you. Okay, what do you fear most about giving a presentation? That's a really good question. Okay, it's my dad asking me that question. What do you fear most about giving a presentation? Okay, let's take the example of this presentation. To be very honest, the thing I fear the most about this presentation is joining late. I have this tendency to join 5 to 10 minutes late in almost all the meetings. So I'm like, okay, अगर कोई presentation दे रहा हूँ, I'll be 5 to 10 minutes before, or I try my best not to upset my audience. So that's the biggest fear, joining late. Because till the last moment, I'll be like, okay, what should I say? What should I say? What should I say? Ye batana hai, wo batana hai. And it all that dilemma. So behind the screen, behind this laptop, and behind this webinar, a lot of points are still stumbling on my head. But yeah, I think that's my biggest fear, and I think I overcame it here today. I was on time today. How to look and sound confident while delivering a speech? Okay, okay, that's a very good question. So here are some things. Firstly, the tone. So the tone of your voice must be slow, loud, and clear. As I mentioned, it doesn't hurt you to be loud. Let's say you're the loudest in the room. It really doesn't hurt. But if your voice is very, let's say your voice is very low and your tone is very weak, then it is very hard for your audience to understand it. So I would say, firstly, go slow and go loud. That shows a lot of confidence in itself. Second thing, as in when I'm speaking, I'm trying to use my hands and palms. The reason I'm doing this is that a study shows that when viewers see the front side of your palms, they feel more calm, they feel more engaged, and they feel more relaxed. So even the most subtle of subtle movements, even the movements such as I'm saying the point number one, point number two, or even my hands moving here and there, that would grab your attention, and that would definitely increase the confidence. That is the two things to look and sound confident. Okay, another question. How do you tailor your speech based on your audience?
फारूक देखो
Example.
मैंने इसका अपडेट कर दिया सीवी का है ना
Hey, Aman, could you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you. Okay, how do you tailor your speech based on your audience? Okay, example, you're addressing a different age groups or different level of management. What are the pointers? That's a good question. I think I'm saying the word good question a lot of times. Avoid that in your speeches, guys. Repetition of words could be a problem. Okay, so if I had to tailor my speech, as I mentioned, first I'll understand my audience. So let's say the example that you gave, different level of management. Okay, cool. So let's say I'm in the financial sector and I had to talk to a social media group or social media group or committee, and I had to talk to them about increasing the sales and drafting better content. Obviously, there is a barrier between the two groups because our expertise is different and their expertise is different. The best way to go forward to that is understand what they do. You don't have to get into their work and do exactly what they do, but just understand. For example, what does a social media company do? They use social media channels. Let's say social media marketing, for example. They use social media channels to draft marketing to increase the leads and sales. So that is what you have understood. The next thing you should do is what is the question that you're asking them, or what is the point you're trying to convey to them. And after you've analyzed and understood the points that who you're talking to, what do they do, and what is your topic, or what is the question you're going to ask. And I think that itself should give you a very good answer on how to go forward. And then when you're speaking, just be sure that you're open to suggestions. If someone is saying that, hey, I think this point is wrong, don't take it too hard. Say, hey, I think I might have gone wrong. Thank you for correcting me there. I think this was not this was something, or this is the point I wanted to convey. And then you continue. So I think understanding your audience, it takes time. It takes time. That is very true. But with time, you'll get better at it, and overall, you'll improve it. I hope I answered the question. Thank you. Okay, social media harmful or useful? Oh, wow. Okay, so social media. It's a big thing to comment on because I myself use social media. But to be honest, my parents, they never really let me use, or it's not like let me use, but I would say they suggested me not to use Insta or Snapchat. Until date, I don't have an Insta account or a Snapchat account. The things I have is a WhatsApp. Yeah, I'm a very old traditional guy. And then, yeah, I'm an old grandpa. And next, second thing I have is LinkedIn. wherein I get all the opportunities that I'm exposed to, like the one with the door. So those are the two things I have. I wouldn't recommend people not to use social media because I think it is something that is an opportunity. It is a vehicle filled with tons of opportunity, tons of experiences. So social media is something that I think everyone should be in, but be mindful and be aware of what you're doing. There's a guy named Iman Ghazi, a guy I really follow. He has said this: be a producer, not a watcher. What this means is that if you're on social media, let's say you're on YouTube, instead of just browsing through random videos, produce videos. Instead of just scrolling through your YouTube shorts, produce YouTube shorts. In that way, you could convert all your time and put it effectively. Now, you might ask me, what if those fail? The best thing that could happen is you have learned. You have learned how to operate YouTube. You have learned how to create content. You have learned video editing. You have posted videos. You have learned social media marketing indirectly. And those little bit, and I don't think there is something called as failure. There is something, failure is a disguised word for learning. And I think learning is the right term to be used. So I would say social media is a very useful tool, but depending on how you use it, it could either be a plus or it could be harmful. So can you give me some examples how to be confident when you don't know answer of that question? Okay. Okay. I think to answer that question exactly, I would say, okay. So if you don't know any answer to a particular question, it's not the end of the world. Trust me, a lot of people, including let's say Sundar Pichai, CEO of Google, even he himself wouldn't know a lot of answer to a lot of questions. Let's say Bill Gates, who is a very smart man, he himself would stumble or sometimes forget what he's speaking. So it's pretty normal to not be able to answer certain questions. And in that situation, you should be humble enough to tell your audience that, hey, I think I'm not the best person to answer this question. Or I think this question, I think it's not, I couldn't give the best answer to you, but here is my opinion. In that way, you wouldn't give them a crafted answer, but that would be your opinion. Again, in all the speeches, I'm trying to craft my opinion. I'm no expert giving you all an advice, but just whatever I've learned from my experiences, that is what I'm trying to convey here. Okay, thank you all. Any other questions? You're wearing a blue shirt as boys need blue. There's a reason why I'm wearing a blue shirt as well. Again, another research shows that blue shows confidence. Even if you look at the company's logos, most of them have the stark light blue color. So it shows confidence, it shows pureness, it shows clarity. So I think that is the reason I'm wearing blue. My favorite color is black on outfits, and I think white is also a spectacular choice in that. In a multilingual public setting, is it fine to mix languages like Hindi, English, and one mother tongue if it's communication? And very true. It is very well advised to mix the language that you're most comfortable with. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us are comfortable with Hindi. Hindi में बात करना अच्छा लगता होगा या फिर तेलुगु माట్లాడడం ఇష్టమై ఉండొచ్చు. But I would suggest to make it, but I wouldn't see the reason I would say English is because a larger audience would understand it. And when you're tailoring, let's say I'm only speaking in Telugu, it would hinder, I would just be considering a part of my segment. The other big chunk of my segment who maybe does not understand Telugu, they might get excluded. So I would say, even though let's say if I'm using Hindi here and there, I would provide or repeat that sentence in English. That would also give me time to process my points. For example, अगर मैं यहाँ पर बताना चाहता हूँ कि ये point मुझे बताना है. So if I want to say that this point here, मतलब if I want to convey this point here, so I would translate it not exactly but similarly so that a larger audience would understand. But here and there, if you use a certain words, it is totally fine. It is natural, and it shows that you have not memorized your speech and you're doing it on the spot, and that will give you more clarity and your audience more trust. Okay, thank you for adding that point. Two is a symbol of happiness. Sure, I will definitely update you on any of the live events that I'll be being a part of. I'm really thankful for Adore again. I think it's a great platform wherein you can reach out to a wider network and wider community. And I think I would actually advise you all of you this. First thing you would do after this webinar ends is try getting on LinkedIn, or if you're already on LinkedIn, try reaching out to people. You don't have to reach out to all big influencer like Ankur Wariko and all. You can start off as small as a guy with 500 connections or 250 connections. Maybe he's working on something that you're interested in. Just talk to him through chat. Now, even the social media point that he was talking about, someone asked me about. Uh, I think this is the way social media should be used. I think social media has always been a channel of communication, and that must be enhanced and that must be shared. Even in your YouTube videos, your opinions are shared. So I think opinions and using it as a channel of communication would make it, again, way better. What do you love about the art of public speaking? Okay. I think public speaking, okay, now I would say a contrary situation. A lot of us are love tech, right? A lot of us love to use technical gadgets. Even some of our best friends, they love tech stuff. They're like tech buzz. All they talk about is, hey, ये PCB बन गया, hey, ये Arduino Nano है, ये वो है, ये है, or they go all day about technical stuff because that's something they really enjoy. And I would say something that I really love about the art of public speaking is anyone can learn it. Maybe not all of us have the exposure to technology. Maybe not all of us have the exposure to technical gadgets in depth. And that's not something all of us could master. But public speaking, unlike a lot of skills, is a soft skill and not a hard skill. And that can be easily learned and started with as small as talking to yourself. Yes, it's not mad, it's not crazy to talk yourself. In fact, I would say people who talk to themselves are really smart because they are considering their opinion and they're considering their thoughts and giving value to themselves. That is one of the most important things. Okay, I think it's slowly becoming into a lecture. I hope you all had a fun time and I hope I could share my experience in the right way. Thank you all for this opportunity. Thank you all for listening to me. And it means a lot that all of you could attend this webinar. And thank you all. Thank you, Adore, for this opportunity again.
Thank you, Ayush. It was lovely to interact with you.
Yeah, thank you. It was lovely to interact with you as well. Okay, so I think Devi, you can take over.
I think we can wind up right now.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for sharing everything and for your wonderful tips. We are very glad to have you. Hope to see you again.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to be here and hope to see you all again too. Okay, all. Thank you all for listening to me. Have a wonderful day. And I'm pretty sure with practice, you all will be a great public speaker. And I hope you guys give webinars like this as well, partnering with more NGOs, more companies, and creating a social impact. Thank you all. Signing off, Ayush.
Thank you, everyone.